Hey, you're part of it.
But I gotta go, guys. There's dogs waiting for me. I'll see you later.
You guys were in the same clothes from last episode. Dicks.
Way to point it out. So now, if you haven't watched the last episode,
Remember
go
last
back
episode?
and see us in the same outfits.
Remember last episode we said we should get Alvarium on here soon?
Mm.
Do you remember that?
I
remember
do.
that.
We also need to
How
get
long
a
ago
wardrobe
was
company
that?
in charge of us. It was like totally like a week ago or two.
Not an hour ago
It was
at all.
not an
No,
hour.
it was-
It was
not
totally a
an
couple
hour
weeks ago.
Oh, like, okay, I see. The episode you just recorded. Got it.
That is correct.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
So that's why you're not playing it back to back. That's right.
So we got a lot of awesome shit to talk about. But before we get there,
Yeah, so welcome
smash
to
the
Hammock
like,
Life. We're gonna
do
do
that
the
thing.
thingy, and actually, we're gonna change up the formula. So
Uh-oh.
Pat's gonna actually introduce the episode. We have some guests, Alvarium. Thank you guys for coming. We'll do a full intro in a minute, and we have Bill's gonna say some important information first.
very important.
Obviously,
Subscribe, smash the like button, share, comment, engage with us. Have you met Pat?
Hey, good job, buddy.
by the way,
Good job.
the bullet point list is fucking money. By the way,
These are all the important things you have to say every single time.
Yeah.
And we
very-
sometimes have to remind him, but he nailed it that time.
yeah. So before we
I'm
dive
getting used
into
to it.
like
I'm
the
getting used to
subject
it.
matter, I figured welcome Alvarium. You guys want to give a quick like shout out like roles at the brewery, all that kind of shit,
Yeah.
really quick. Like,
Who are you? What,
so
what do
people
you
can
do?
get to know who you guys are.
Okay.
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having us. Appreciate it coming down
of
here.
course,
to
man.
you. Yeah, so this is Cherokee.
Okay, I guess
Sour
I'll go
Slayer,
first.
no?
Cherokee goes first.
Pressure?
Yes, so brand ambassador, Sour Slayer, sales rep, all of the above at the Alvarium Hive. I handle all kinds of sales and distro. Anything outside of the building essentially is my role, events, things like that. So started with these guys about 2 years ago. Actually, this month.
Oh, nice.
This
Exciting
week,
stuff.
2 years ago, this week.
Congratulations, happy
Happy
anniversary.
anniversary.
Hey, thank
It
you.
was totally timed.
Yeah, right? This was totally not planned.
We did it. We did it.
Yeah, so I've been there since then, and it's been really amazing to see in 2 years the progress and the growth that we're going through. So
Nice.
it's always a good thing. That's what we're told. It's a good problem.
For sure.
We weren't going to record this episode if you didn't bring Crunchyroll, so
Mhm.
Good job.
Yeah,
thank you for
delicious.
doing
That is I think that's unanimously our favorite beer that you guys make.
I mean,
Thank
we're
you
brewers,
very
so we love
much.
lagers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm,
I feel like
I'm a
it's
light lager person.
I
for
feel
the
like
most
it's
part,
a general across the board in the industry. I tell the general public all the time, like if you ever go to a brewery and talk to the staff, they're probably going to not say an IPA is their favorite, unless you're Brian
Right,
from
right.
Alvarium.
I mean, I still
Because
appreciate
he
IPAs,
still loves
but
IPA.
yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. They're great. They're great beers, and there's
Right.
some really
but your
awesome
fallback
ones.
is not an IPA.
Right, like your general go-to is not
Yeah.
always going to be. And now everything's turning into seltzers, so I
Right.
guess
That's true.
that's
Mm.
It's
This is a
very
Wild
good
true.
crossover.
That's a great
So
segue.
then, we're not there yet. We
Too
still got-
early for the
we
segue.
still got another person here. So we got one of the owners over here from Alvarium as well.
What's going on? Yeah, I'm Mike. I do a lot of the brewery operations stuff, coordination between production, distribution, facilities management, all that type of stuff. So
Right. Yeah. And you guys, I mean, I know we may touch on it later before we get into our subject matter, but you guys are going through an expansion right now. You got a grain silo, got a lot of new equipment coming through. I mean, I'm sure. So you are at the heart of all that shit, right?
Yes.
I mean, realistically.
Yeah, in the
And yes,
background.
you can swear on this, by the way. That's fine.
okay. Great, because I have a gross
Shit, ass, butt.
Yeah. Sailor mouth. It's fine.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
yeah, and the coordination, logistics, all that stuff behind the background of things. So
Yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, that silo alone, just like it's always like, oh, that's pretty sweet, dude. You know, like it's fun to like do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I saw that online. I was like, oh, I want
Yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
of those.
it's one of the things we plan in our expansion project, and then like until you actually get it, it's like, wow,
Holy shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sounds big.
right, then you fill
Like-
it with grain. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, right. The truck pulls up and all of us are outside and we're like, "Wow, this is
Mm.
really big." And then you stand next to it now and you're like, "Wow, this is really big."
That's what she said.
more importantly, you don't have to lift as many sacks to
Yeah.
to mash in.
Our
That's also what
brewers-
she said.
Like, take it easy. Well, welcome, guys. We appreciate you guys coming down, obviously. And so the funny thing is that you sort of mentioned seltzers.
See, Mike should have gone first.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. No, but that was
Pat
good.
is gonna have a little like this is our segue right here.
Yeah.
Pat,
So we
go.
we were having an internal discussion about what we were going to talk to you folks about because
Why
we're
not?
trying to not be the same thing every single week. So I decided I was going to bring an opinion that I currently share, and I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on it. And in the last decade, there have been more trends in craft beer than I care to mention. We've had the pastry stouts, the fruited IPAs, the New England IPAs.
Lactose everything.
Lactose everything.
The
But
best.
right now, I am of the belief and opinion that the current craft seltzer trend that we are seeing is going to be more impactful on the industry than any of those trends in the last decade.
Yeah.
For
I can agree with that.
You can agree
multitude
or
of reasons.
disagree, but figure this is a good starting point for the conversation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
goal.
I honestly look back and from quarter 2 to quarter 3 this year, I saw Sam Adams Truly. Their stock price like close to doubled.
Mhm.
I mean, and you can't not pay attention to that.
Right.
So that was like one trigger in the market of like the trickle down effect from these larger craft breweries, Sam Adams and everybody else up there starting to do these hard seltzers, and then it kind of flows down to the small guys like us, and it's something you just can't ignore.
Right.
Well, not only that, like the biggest thought I have is, for how many years was a brewery like, oh, we have beer, and we had to bring in a wine or bring in a
Right.
local
You have
cider.
gluten-free options
Now,
or whatever.
now you
know?
have something you've produced in-house that you and your staff can talk about with pride, that appeals to a wider audience, appeals to the same audience. I had a seltzer when I got here today. It was fantastic.
Mhm.
It was light, crisp,
Bitch.
refreshing. Yeah, I am. I
Low
admit
calorie.
it. I am. Yeah,
Yeah,
lower
exactly.
calorie.
Yeah.
So from that aspect, it's great. And then at the same time, from the brewing aspect, it actually like made you think a little bit. Like, how are we going to pull this off? It's not the same old repetitive thing that you're always doing, which for you guys as the brewers has to be more fun to like think of the process and kind of reinvigorate you to a degree.
It's still like a fermentation process, but it is completely different.
Yeah.
And it took us a few tries to actually get where we wanted to go, and we're still fine tuning it a little bit more and more. But to get that nice, clean, crisp, clear, flavorful product, it's actually pretty difficult.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think Pat's definition of fun differs greatly from my definition.
I
of
have
fun.
an engineering
Somebody-
degree, you
somebody-
motherfucker.
Yeah, Mike's
someone
an
lives in the
engineer.
brewery
Yeah.
and someone has a second job. You know, like,
no, someone has a first job and his second job is hanging out and
Yeah,
drinking
yeah.
beer with you assholes.
Well, I definitely want to say that I feel like, this is something like, because I come from the restaurant business and then coming more into the brewing industry, working in restaurants, I'm like, oh my God, beer is so awesome. It's so fun. And like, as a manager, we used to do outings and go to different breweries and
Right.
tours and tastings and all that fun stuff. And I really, like, we were just talking about this the other day.
See, we meant to do this, by the way.
People
Perfect.
have this idea that brewing is always fun. Like, you guys just hang out all day and drink beer.
mean,
and I'm
You
like,
guys don't?
I wish it was that.
I know, like, and that's the thing that's,
sure.
and every
my
brewery
wife
is
still
different.
thinks that we hang out in lawn chairs and just drink beer all day.
Yeah, I mean, don't get
threw
me
those out.
wrong.
I won't
Don't get
send
me
her the
wrong.
pictures.
There is a portion of the day that happens. Most
hell
of
yeah.
the time, it's at the end of the day when we're kind of like decompressing, kind of like going over what happened or whatever.
Right.
But for the most part, it's not like we get there at 9 o'clock in the morning and just immediately crack a couple and we're like, yeah, this is so much fun. It's not like, it's like any other job,
Yeah.
any other
I feel like
industry.
the difference is that
there's
you-
ups and downs for
you
sure.
still
yeah.
earn, like any job, right? You said, like a desk job or not, whatever. Like you behind, like you work mechanic, like you're earning that beer. The difference is that we also made that beer.
Right.
That's normally
And
that's the
really-
difference, right?
It's kind of like the what is it, gratification that I'm looking for? Is that the
Mhm.
word?
Yeah,
It's like it's
yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
types of jobs. Like
Right.
one of my best friends is like a social worker. Not the best pay, but it's one of those jobs. It's a feel good job.
Yeah.
So like, in this, you're passionate about it. You're bringing doing sales calls and like being on the road and like going visiting accounts. You bring in samples of beer. I almost never see somebody upset or deny it. People
Right.
get so excited for it.
but it's still hard ass work. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's not.
People love beer
People
in
people love to
general.
be. Oh,
Yeah.
it's cool, and it's not cool.
Yeah,
But you're working your
its,
ass off in this quote unquote
Oh, yeah.
cool thing. Like you're
Absolutely.
killing yourself for it.
Yeah, it's definitely got its perks, and there's moments where it's like, yeah, this is all fun right
Right.
now in this little silo of a moment, but there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
it's a labor of love.
So looking
and I mean,
at
going
like,
back to Seltzer, I'm
Oh, yeah.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
Going back to
no,
Seltzer.
it's perfect. I was literally,
That's right.
literally
we're
we were on the
talking
same
about
page.
Seltzer.
I mean, I
Okay,
was-
you
I
were
was about
like,
to bring it
okay,
back.
so
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah, we're killing it.
but yeah, I mean, I've seen
Killing
this
it.
was an idea, like we were paying attention to the market, like Mike mentioned, and
Yeah.
it was something that we seen a lot of other breweries jumping on with, and we kind of waited for our, like you said, we went through a couple test batches and like trial runs, and He actually Jimmy rigged a like non-alcoholic seltzer keg in our
Yeah.
cooler in the
Yeah,
tap
yeah.
room. So we've been testing out like different flavors
Nice,
and stuff.
nice.
So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's one of the challenges, right? So, like I know, I'll start with you guys first. Maybe go back to how we got into it too. Is like, I popped by the brewery a month ago or so, which was nice. Like, I'm like, oh, thank God I get to do somebody else's brewery.
yeah.
And I think it was the day you guys were launching, like, officially the kiwi. Was it kiwi strawberry?
Kiwi strawberry.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yep.
So like that was the day you guys launched it, and it was like, all right, cool. Like it was awesome to try somebody else's seltzer. I think to your point too is like we're all trying to figure out how to make a very clean, also different ways. Like, do you use extract? Do you use fresh fruit? And there's challenges to all that stuff, and there's also balances. There's infusions. There's other things you can do, and we're all trying to learn that because we're craft brewers. Like we mentioned early, you're making people want to see the lactose crazy stouts. Like,
Yeah.
how do we make a seltzer not
Opposite end of the spectrum.
and
Super
you know,
simple.
and not to knock because Truly White Claw they kill it. Obviously, they're
Oh, yeah.
destroying it. But how do we make our own version of it as craft brewers and I mean, share the market? Not like we're not gonna beat them.
Oh, no, yeah.
And we're not trying to, but like, hey, they're making a product that people want. How do we make our craft version, right? So I think that's what we're all looking for.
Yeah.
So it's neat to like when I come in, you're like, oh, yeah, we're doing it. I'm like, what should I try? Like, well, we have this seltzer. I'm like, well, let me try it. And it may not be my go-to beer, but I want to try it. I want to see what you guys are doing, and it's neat to sort of have that challenge as brewers in general. I know you're the engineer guy.
Yeah.
You're doing sales. There's a challenge that we all appreciate and embrace. If you don't appreciate and embrace challenges in this industry, you are fucking done.
yeah, you shouldn't be doing it.
Right. Yeah. Well,
And-
and I think for me the coolest thing was going into it. It's a seemingly simple process.
In theory, yeah.
In theory,
Theory, yeah.
and then you start trying it out, and it's like, oh fuck, this is not simple at all.
So do you remember
The corn syrup.
the day that
debacle?
I said, Bill, we're brewing a seltzer?
I said no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So what happened? So that happened. I went on vacation. I was going down to
Florida.
Florida for a wedding,
Pre-COVID
and it was the middle of July.
last year. It's
Yeah.
last year.
Hot in Florida. It was hot. It was very hot.
Yeah, because I
couldn't-
think I planted the seed after HomebrewCon last year.
I couldn't. I was trying to drink a beer. I was like, it's too fucking hot for this. A buddy of mine handed me a White Claw, and I was like, all right, whatever. When in Rome, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
After that first White Claw, I texted Kev. I was like,
Fucking
Kev,
delicious.
Kev, I get it. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Rewind. No.
It's
After the
fucking delicious.
17th
Yeah,
White
exactly.
Claw.
Wait. Fast forward to a month later when we played a round of disc golf, and Bill drank 9 of a 12 pack during a round.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what? And that's the dangerous part about them too. Like we've gone out plenty
Oh,
of
right
nights,
on.
We've been to
get
the
like
beach and stuff
buckets
like
of
that,
Truly
like-
and stuff, and like before you know it, you're like, what the fuck?
What did I get myself
Yeah,
into?
you wake up the next day and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
what happened?
And to me, like, a lot of this resonates very strongly. I mean, I'm sure, you know, when you look at, like, the way that breweries were built originally versus where they are now, I think embracing being more of a beverage company. Like, we're very craft oriented, right? Like, we need to be involved in creating, and it's not always about things that we love. It's also about our customers that love it. So we joked about like the pastry stouts. Like, if they love it, like, let's take that feedback.
Oh, yeah.
Let's figure out what they love about it, and let's try to be passionate and present it the best we can as us, right? As our entity, right?
Yeah, you mentioned though
Be proud of
before
it,
is
yeah.
like you're going from a craft brewery to a craft beverage manufacturer.
Yeah.
And then that's something we just realized recently. You know, we doing through some bigger changes internally, and that was like one of our like kind of vision statements was becoming a top tier craft beverage manufacturer, not just a craft brewery. And that
Right.
encompasses all the pastry stouts, the seltzers, the fruity boys, like
Right.
all that stuff. So
Fruity boys.
yeah.
Boy.
Boy.
Yeah, I mean, one of the people in our area that pioneered that thought process, at least, and I mean, maybe it didn't necessarily click verbiage, but initially, but you know, Night Shift was definitely one of those people that were like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
look, like, we're about the craft. It doesn't have to be the noun of beer. You know, the noun of beverage is more accurate, and it's like, hey, you may send her back to being focused on beer again. Who knows? But let's present what we are passionate about.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the challenges that we chatted about. Like, we didn't have this mission statement necessarily, but I'm like,
We're
people
working
want
through
it.
still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think
It
we
takes
all are,
time.
but I think me and Bill were chatting, and like, I'm like, dude, like, people want it. Can we do it and can we stand behind it?
And
Yeah.
not only
I remember
that,
back when I first started, it was hard for me to get over that hump of, no, I want to brew what I enjoy and what I'm proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin's like, but we could still do that. You doing these,
but we have to pay the
Yeah.
bills.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
And
we
respect
take
yourself.
those-
You can still look at yourself in the mirror.
right,
and still
exactly.
Do that, you know?
Like I didn't
sure.
just put out this.
Little known side fact on the side, you just mentioned night shift. Alvarium was actually built on the premise of night shift's model.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah?
all right.
That was
Nice.
like literally when we were starting to build our brewery.
No, there was a fly flying around. I'm sorry. I'm not telling you to
All right,
shut up.
Mike,
Like
you shut your
Mike's
fucking
like, what do
mouth.
you? Yeah, stop talking. Mike's like, what?
I was
No.
about to say that, bitch.
Yeah, you know, back like
He's one of the
6,
owners. He
7
can say
years
whatever he
ago,
wants.
when we first were like, coming up with the idea for Alvarium, and we, everybody visits tons of breweries around the U.S. or New England.
Yeah,
stuff
you
like
have
that.
your idols, right?
Yeah, and
Right, yeah.
night shift wasn't really known back then too much. I mean, you're talking like 6, 7 years
Yeah,
ago.
they were so young and they grew
Yeah.
fast.
and they
Yeah.
basically like they have became the brewery that we wanted to be.
Right.
And we actually, I don't know if you guys know it, like I think it was like last year, if you guys heard about it, we actually got to do a collaboration with those guys.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And actually, we're going to be doing another one coming up pretty soon. But yeah, it's like their whole encompassing model was really awesome because they adapted to the market. They brewed with like they wanted to make as innovative products and
Right.
everything across the board. I mean, they just got into wine. I mean, they got
Yeah,
their own
yeah,
distribution
it's
company.
cool.
You can go on
And that's
on with
something
those
that I
guys,
was
but-
going to mention too, is that when you start gearing more towards the craft beverages in general, especially now, like, in the past year, we've seen so much activity, especially like being up at the Capitol as a whole unit in the craft beer industry in Connecticut. For the first time in decades, we are starting to change laws and make progress in general where, permits are changing, where, it doesn't have to be a separate building and all this
Right.
stuff if you want to make cider or if you want to make wine or
Right.
distill
How come you guys don't make
spirits or-
ciders? Because we can't because of stupid laws. Like,
Exactly. So, and that's the thing is that when you start gearing, and I feel like seltzers is definitely one of those segues where
Yeah.
breweries are going to start experimenting with other things.
Yeah.
And with the whole COVID thing going on, a lot of breweries had to bring back, out of cold product. What did we do? We went to our distilleries and we, hey guys,
Right.
we can't do anything with this beer. Instead of dumping it and wasting it, make it into something, helpful. And that's something that like should be in the back of your mind as an up and coming brewery. Like, Mike mentioned with Night Shift, they're beginning to look at all of the industry, not
Right.
just beer. They're going to look at cider. They're going to look at seltzer. They're going to look at wine. They're going to look at this. They're, they brew their own coffee. They have that part of their distribution.
Yeah,
so
and
it's like,
they're impressive on how much they're on shit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
Their
Yeah.
sour
they're
project's
always
up
like a couple
crazy.
steps ahead of us.
Yeah,
like
wow.
when they released Nightlight last summer, we were literally in meetings talking about
It's a good
the
beer.
El
It's
Cabron
a
beer.
really good
Yeah.
beer.
Right.
So we brewed a lager with lime.
Yeah.
And
yeah, yeah,
literally, they released it a week before we released ours. If you even
First to
like,
market, bitches.
not even like intentionally. We had
yeah.
zero
Yeah.
idea about it, and
That's
then
cool.
it was like we were in our meeting, and I was like, guys, there's literally like we have El Cabron in the tanks right now, ready to go, and these guys beat us to it, and that's the thing. They're
It
ahead
means
of the
the
market,
Cabron.
which is
It
great.
does mean the Cabron, right?
Exactly.
So- It
yeah,
was
so-
it was cool though. I mean, talk about Night Shift. I mean, I remember. I don't know how many years ago it was now, but the first time I visited their brewery, I was super impressed. I was up in the area doing a bunch of different things. I stopped at I think Trillium and a couple other places, and I was most impressed with Night Shift at the time. I loved that they had a lot of hype type stuff on, as well as a lot of other
Traditional,
styles.
yeah.
There was a lot of different
Lagers,
styles of
lagers.
lagers. Yeah, there was
Lagers.
there was a lot of different styles of
their half
lagers.
is good.
on.
Their
Yeah.
quarter is good.
Yeah.
I personally
yeah.
am a giant fan of
And-
Hefs.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a massive
I-
fan of Hefs.
And you guys make you make one of them. He
Craft
loves
work.
Pat loves.
That's my number
Hef.
2.
And literally, it's like
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
for
one
sure.
of the main reasons I like keeping that beer on tap year round is because I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
it's fair,
it
dude.
does
That's
sell
But it
fair.
does
so
sell.
well.
That
That's
and
the thing too.
name
is-
another brewery in Connecticut that consistently has a hef on.
and that's something that
Two
we're
Roads.
Two Roads.
Two roads, yeah.
Got
well,
it.
and
All
that's
right, fine.
Well,
Name
no,
a
no,
third
that's-
brewery in Connecticut that consistently
and
has
you
a
and
hef
you
on.
want to know something? We absolutely adore Two Roads just as much.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and they actually, you know,
Two
they're
Roads
a
crushes
huge,
what they do, man.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
and they were a huge pioneer for all of us in Connecticut,
Hell
which
yeah.
is great. We have nothing but
Fucking
know.
Area 2 is sheerly impressive.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like-
and I mean, hopefully, the downside is they launched it early intentionally, and then COVID hit. So I mean, hopefully,
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen is that they're just
resurgence.
making a bunch of beer that's going to be amazing in like a year when
Oh,
they
yeah.
release it. Like
that
we had
Solaris
all of
project. I mean, it's
yeah.
so impressive.
Yeah, they're
so impressive.
They're ahead of. They're doing great things too.
Absolutely.
But you know, and that's one of the things being in sales. that I get a lot of feedback about is that people really love craft work. And when I'm doing a beer dinner or like if I'm doing an event and I'm trying to, encourage people to try craft work as a Hefeweizen, some people automatically think of like a traditional German style Hefeweizen where it's like very thick and chewy. I mean, and that's something like we love that stuff, you know what I mean? But like the general public, again, they're willing to try it, but you gotta, it's very comparable to like an Allagash. That's usually what I go for is like, have you had Allagash before? Give this a try.
Yeah, it's not it's not Blue Moon. It's not stupid light
right.
or
It's not
weird,
water.
But, yeah.
It's not orange flavored water. It's
I mean,
just,
and a lot of the styles, like everything, it's so broad. Like IPA is so broad, right?
Oh, yeah.
So same idea. Like when the population isn't familiar with it, they just go to the most extreme version, which either they love or hate.
Right.
And that's part of correlating with sales. And I mean, even Crunchyroll that took off like crazy
because it's delicious.
And I think lagers too now are like we have what 3-4 lagers available right now, and like 3 years ago it was like, oh, you got one lager, you're a freaking rogue, But now people are like, oh shit, we got a lager. And people also aren't thinking lager as like a style, but more a sub style, which is more appropriate. It's really a tangential style, or an avenue to multiple styles. So it's nice that people aren't looking at like thinking lager and thinking Bud Light, right? Like they're thinking. There's so many options, and this is very. I mean, having a rice lager and the way you guys hop it is, and we have a rice lager. It's completely different.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic how different they are, though.
Yeah, I love how different they are.
So like it's cool, right?
That was one thing.
We just tried the one that what was it? Outer Light? Was that the?
Yeah,
somebody brought some up from Outer Light.
Oh yeah, nice.
What is it?
Method.
Suzuki Method. Yeah,
and
and
I haven't tried that one yet.
That's their rice lager, and it was and again, like you said, if you put Crunchyroll, theirs, and yours. You put them all next to each other and try them. They're all equally amazing, but they're all very different.
Right.
In like taste, flavor profile, that kind of stuff. So
and that was one thing.
That's the same concept.
I was super nervous about when we were first putting together the State of Grace, the recipe and everything like that. As much as I love Crunchyroll, I was like, I was hoping it wasn't like Crunchyroll because I wanted it to be different. I love Crunchyroll, obviously. I'm not drinking it anymore. I'm putting it. The Oktoberfest.
I got it right
Jesus
here.
Christ.
I got it right here, bitches.
Anyway.
So good.
But
yeah, it's funny where you're like,
because
we're doing a rice lager. It's going to be the same beer. Like, no.
Because it is
no,
such
it's always going to be different.
Yeah.
Either you use different, there's
I mean,
so
even
many.
if you nail the same hops and the same malt profiles, it's two different breweries.
Right.
They're going to be different.
Yeah.
What I mean, I'm drinking
Even
yours.
just the
Like your
water
hops
alone
are
is gonna be
completely
different.
than ours.
Yeah.
We're using a little bit more toasted rice and all that stuff. So like, they're so different in the best way possible.
And that's the
Totally
greatest
agree
thing
with
about
it.
Absolutely,
that's the greatest thing about beer is that you can have 5 of the same styles sitting next to each other, same ingredients, same recipe, even, but it comes from different points. Even right here in Connecticut, come from 5 different breweries, and you're like, it all tastes different.
Right on, yeah.
That's one of the greatest things that I love about this industry in general.
Get that little bit of sriracha in there.
Yeah, no, you definitely get that little like sharp.
Yeah,
little
like
sharp,
lemongrass.
but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little. I mean, it's not over because you're not using a lot, so it's not like overtly dill,
Right,
but
no,
it's
yeah,
a
there
little bit.
Before we started canning it, we definitely, Chris played around with, the correct level of, okay, is it more, is it less? And then we obviously all
and Chris
gave
is
our
owner,
feedback.
brewer, right?
Yep.
He's obviously not here, but I'm just letting the people know.
Yeah,
you
and I
know.
mean, he brewed it a few times before we even like came up with the label and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, every time we made it, it was great, but you can tell the difference between batches. And then it came like one day he made it, and all of us were like, "Don't change it. This is perfect." And then it was like, "Okay, that's the one."
And he
sold.
still sort of changed it. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's a brewer,
I know.
right?
Yeah, that's what
He probably
happens.
Welcome
did.
to
He's
being a
like,
brewer.
yeah,
I'm-
sure, that's fine. And then
It's
on
the
the piece
same
of paper,
bitches,
he's
I
like,
swear.
At this point, I'm more surprised when Kevin's like, "Hey, guess what? We didn't change the beer."
Yeah, no, you always change something, man. So, like, circle back really quick. I mean, I love where we're at. I just wanted to sort of like bring it back. So we were talking about seltzers really quickly and how it sort of really changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing I'm thinking about, and we're talking about even like how breweries are looking at themselves as beverage companies. I think most are. If they're not there yet, they're gonna be there. Because,
yeah.
Yeah.
Is
There's
the
definitely-
customer itself. So the one thing I see a lot of, and I'm sure you guys do, like we have tap rooms, obviously, and early on, say like 2 years ago plus, like people are like, "Oh, I don't drink beer. Do you have a cider? Do you have a wine? Do you have this?"
A lot
The
of
ni-
gluten-free stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yep.
the nice thing is like the seltzer to me, and I'm not only those customers you get in the tap room. I personally look at it as like it's a massive growing demographic.
Oh yeah.
And I think to me it's the newest gateway. Like, to me, the New England IPAs to me were like the biggest gateway beer. honestly.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think that seltzers are the newest, even more new than New England, of the gateway beer. You may never transition to a true malt forward beer and you're stuck on seltzers.
Right, but you're going to come out to the breweries because you know they have something
Right.
that you
Right,
enjoy.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You get that group of like 6-7 people that comes out, and there's always that one person that's like, oh, I don't really like beer. Let me get a wine or cider.
Right, yeah.
You get
Yeah,
like
for sure.
You get a pineapple seltzer on tap, and all of a sudden, like, oh, this is so pineapple. It's awesome. Well, here, hey, this double IPA has a lot of pineapple characteristics.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
let me take a sip of that. I mean, that's where it kind of makes that like gateway transition to South.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for sure. I feel like 100%. And at the same point in time, you're also in that balance of, I need something light right now. I'm not feeling necessarily a light lager.
No.
You know what? Let me grab that raspberry seltzer for a stint. I'll have 4 beers, be responsible, obviously, or hopefully. But at the same point in time, it's also that refresher.
Something I wanted to bring up really quickly. So
Also, you have a Casio watch from I'm just telling people now that's Casio.
no, it's not.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's not. If it was a Casio watch,
Bitch,
it would
please.
be like
It was
you
one of those
know,
calculator
it'd be like
watches.
from
just
90s.
doing-
Yeah.
doing math.
So I travel to Vermont pretty frequently. A lot of us do, like between snowboarding and like I know one of our beer tenders family has like a house up there, so like we're always back and forth, whatever. I always stop at Hermit Thrush, and they actually make a sour seltzer because all
really?
of their beers are sours.
Interesting.
Mind
I've
blowing,
only been there
phenomenal.
once, but I enjoy it. It was a very, very
I
small.
might-
stop.
You had
Really
blew
cool.
his mind,
It was
by the
really
way.
cool. Really cool.
Not just
So,
sour, but
obviously-
fermented sour.
Oh, shit.
No,
That's-
like
that's money.
legitimately,
Yeah.
like it's a sour beer that they turned into a seltzer.
Wow.
And I might have a can in my car.
Mm.
I have to double check.
You had my curiosity.
Off camera, bitch.
And
So-
now you have
right?
my interest.
So obviously, Hermit Thrush is like all sour or
yeah.
literally
Yeah.
all of their beers
Right
are
on,
sour.
yeah.
Even like some of the lagers, IPAs, anything like that, it's going to have some kind of
Yeah.
souring
And-
aspect
Yes,
to
and
it.
twist
they've
to
been
it.
they've even done a lot of stuff with cider and like
Oh yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
I mean,
It's been sour
they
as
have
well.
a giant facility that
Yeah.
they have a giant facility that has all their barreling and stuff. And they're amazing. Like they're very hospitable. Every time I'm up there, like they're really great people. So when they first came out with it, it was like rosemary and grapefruit, and I was like, I don't like grapefruit, but it's a sour
Or
seltzer.
rosemary.
So I bought a case. I went online, bought a case. It was like $40. Drove up there, picked it up, brought it home. I was like, guys, they made a sour seltzer. You need to try this. And we're all just like, what the fuck? This is so good. Like,
Yeah.
what is this? You know? And it's such an odd combination, but it worked. And it was like, what the hell? So I think their
My-
newest one that I got was like
My
raspberry
gears are
or
turning
something.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it sparks
I didn't even
your
know Bill had
interest, right?
gears. So.
Bill, if you're not brewing a sour seltzer
Figured
next time I walk in the brewery, I'm kicking you in the balls.
Or his gears.
Or his gear. Those
Or
are
his
his balls.
gears. Yeah, exactly.
My favorite part about Hermit Thrush was I walked in there. Oh, I'm getting there.
I
I'm
want it
getting there.
back.
I want to talk first.
I want it back.
I want to talk first.
Pretty good.
It tastes like a beer. My favorite thing about them was I walked in, and all three of us are real big disc golfers. I walked in, and I saw a whole shit ton of disc golf.
Oh yeah,
discs
they're
for
huge
sale.
up there.
And
Super
and,
crunchy.
yeah,
I love it.
I was so they sold me, and then I tried the beer, and I loved the beer too. So
Yeah, everything that they do up
That's a
there
good
is.
story,
I
Bill.
bought like a.
it was
I
great.
bought a can. So, looking a little bit ahead in our future, looking at like our souring program, and Dickie, one of our assistant brewer, he's probably gonna. Well, he's gonna be like the headway on that. He's gonna like really focus his energy and attention on it. So,
we got like a mini Solera that we're starting up.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, you're off,
You're
you
off.
broke it,
Kevin.
That's what I do all the
Good,
time.
good
too.
job.
It is my penis.
Talk into the mic. It's on.
No, now it's off.
Now it's off. Now it's on. Talk into it now.
It's got to be your
Something
bowl.
unplugged. Oh,
Okay.
did you unplug over there? No.
No. I'm getting mild
Dude,
stuff.
I did it.
There it is.
There we
there
go.
it is.
Nobody move.
Whatever's
Nobody
going on,
move.
don't move.
Anyway, whatever. I
So-
said nothing
but-
important.
Sorry,
Okay,
Mike.
well,
Mike
yeah.
was saying we're gonna look more into that.
That's cool.
Well,
Do more of the
and
And
Solaris
Solera
are
style,
amazing.
yeah.
I mean, it's cool, especially if you can do it. Like, it's a cool concept
It's
for
one
sure.
of those things. It takes time. It takes
Oh.
a couple of
Yeah.
years to get up and running.
Legit,
and,
yeah.
it won't-
I tried one at home and failed miserably.
Right when COVID started, when we kind of like backed off the production a little bit, we're like, I don't know if it's a great idea, but let's do it. Let's buy. We bought like a 9-barrel foeder, so a little over
Yeah.
foeder, and then when we started with Chris, ended up brewing like a Flemish. I think it was a Flemish red.
Yeah, I think there's a Flemish that we have in there right now.
Yeah,
We kind of blend it with a
base it.
bunch of barrels we adopted from friends. So
Long story.
So
Yeah.
super food, super Slayer.
It's gonna
I like
be
it.
super-
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, we probably tasted about 8 different barrels that day to see how we
Nice.
wanted to.
That
how
sounds
Dickie
like a
wanted to
good
blend
day.
it. Oh, it was
we
a lot
got,
of fun.
We got some weird stuff running for sours. We actually have a Brett fermented crutchy roll.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not sure how that's going to come out, but
Oh,
it's-
So-
yeah.
It
Oh,
sounds
well, yeah,
fun,
well,
though.
yeah.
We-
I
the
have a
idea-
hypothetical
The
question
The idea
here.
was brought up to name it Dragon Roll, which would be amazing.
I have a hypothetical question. Are you looking for a guy to run a podcast at your brew every week where you just give him beer? Because I know a guy.
yeah.
Pat,
Hey, you're
is
more
that
than
guy
welcome to
you?
visit. You know.
Maybe.
we actually have 4 barrels, 2 running of Brett fermented craft work.
Oh,
Almost
nice.
a year old too.
See, here's
I'm
your-
moving. I'm moving to fucking New Britain. This is great.
So before we wrap up, you guys have anything else from the company we haven't chatted about? You guys like talk about Alvarium specific for the people?
Yeah, anything-
Message for the
anything you're
people.
working
Anything else? I
on.
mean, we were talking about Seltzer, obviously, sort of at that like tipping point. So
Yeah, so we're going to. We planned about a massive expansion about a year ago. We're like realized like our system's not big enough, and we need to grow bigger. And we got distribution to supply, and we have a giant wait list of accounts and everything. We're 100% self-distributed too, so like it's all of our control. And so we're putting in another like 4,500 square foot expansion. The silo is definitely one piece of it, and then we're putting a fully automated 4-vessel 15-barrel system in. High gravity, I mean, all kinds of geek and brewer stuff I can get into, but
nice.
a bunch more tanks and amp up the distribution a lot more. We're exploring the possibilities of a coffee company in the front of our building too.
Ooh, interesting.
So getting the whole coffee game a little bit, and then we'll have a secondary tap room. So we're trying to build like a little like cool destination spot.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very
And I
cool,
mean,
man.
where we're located in New Britain, it's off the beaten path. Like a lot of people ask us, like, "Oh, are you the one in downtown?" We're like, "No, that's 5 churches, and they're great, but no,
Yeah,
we're on
yeah.
the other side of town."
Yeah.
But you
the
both
other-
are pretty
we're the
close
other
though.
guy.
Yeah,
too.
no, yeah, and it's weird because like
Yeah.
when you GPS it, it says we're only like I think maybe 2 miles away,
It's
but
7
getting
minutes.
yeah, like getting through the 17 lights from
Yeah,
Alvarium
it's like
to
10
5
minutes
churches
plus,
is
yeah.
but
Right on.
so yeah, the space that we're in, we're definitely equipped to expand. It's just a matter of time and patience, and
Yeah.
Mike's like a mad scientist in the office with his cork board full of blueprints and exact measurements. And
And if
all
you
that
haven't
stuff.
been
Now
to you
we're
guys, I
talking.
mean, honestly, like people are missing out. I mean, I personally, I mean, I know
I
Bill
pictured
and
the
Pat.
meme of Charlie Day.
I know Bill and Pat definitely echo the.
From horrible bosses.
We love that you guys are similar in terms of you have a little bit of everything. You know, like
That's
you walk in the door, it's not like you have 57 IPAs and it's all I can get.
Yeah.
Same time, you probably, because it's industry, you still have a bunch of IPAs, but you also have other things that are available, like Crunchyroll.
Yeah, there's always
there's
something
always
for
something
everyone.
else available,
Yeah,
which is
that's a
cool.
big part of our whole philosophy is too is like when you come in our tap room or you look for one of our products on the market, we want to have a beer for everybody. We
Yeah.
want to have not so much beer anymore; it's a product for everybody.
Right.
Right.
But
a beverage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
But
A
it's
craft
everything.
beverage.
I mean, we have an alt beer dropping tomorrow. We're actually brewing a double
It
alt.
is
coming
going to be
soon.
amazing.
Nice.
That's
I love all
awesome.
beers,
That's
so
awesome, yeah.
I might be coming over tomorrow.
So it's obviously we have a lot of IPAs and we got fruited sours and all the other stuff.
I mean, it's the world we live in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we try to mix it up and brew a bunch of other cool stuff.
Love
inside
it,
there.
dude.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
And
that's
that-
our
and
motto
that's what
here too, right? It's always
Yeah.
a beer for everybody,
Right.
hopefully.
And,
Yeah.
and,
Absolutely.
and that's
You
what I
guys do the
love
same
about
thing.
you guys. I'm not just saying this because you're here in front of us and I'm tooting
He's-
you. I'm
He's
tooting your
fanboying
guys'
a little
horn.
bit.
But no, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of breweries in Connecticut, but what you guys do, I resonate with really, really well, and it sits well with me, and I enjoy most of what you guys do for the most part.
I mean, you're more than welcome
I
to
had-
come visit and be part of Dogs of Alvarium.
You gave me that
anytime.
one blueberry sour cinnamon beer thing, and I still enjoyed it. It's not my style beer.
That was off the beaten path.
I loved that beer.
Awesome. Well,
Another day we'll get into the crumble.
All right, let's do it. Yeah. Well,
It's time.
it's
I-
time
well, we
for-
have an empty glass,
I
but
have-
cheers.
We love you guys.
That's when I hit the
Thanks for
button.
being on.
Thanks for having us.
Can I get beer? Good luck with the expansion.
Absolutely.
And thanks for the beers, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And
Cheers.
until next time, keep living that hammock life.